President Muhammadu Buhari wants Nigerians to judge his administration fairly. Military wants information on people stockpiling fertilizers for negative purposes. And stakeholders in Africa health sector deliberate on how to win the battle against COVID-19. Glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Falashade Ogrinde. President Muhammadu Buhari has called the Nigerians, especially the elite, to be fair in their criticism of his administration by looking at the situation of the country before the assumption of the current government. President Buhari made a call on Thursday at the State House, Abuja, while receiving in audience Reverend Yakubu Pam, the Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Christian Pilgrims Commission. The president says those criticizing the administration should be fair in terms of reflecting on where the country was before May 29, 2015 and what the situation is presently. Buhari says when he assumed office, government had to struggle paying debts, investing in road repairs and rebuilding and revamping the rail and trying to fix the power problem. Among the new stakeholders in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic are calling for support of African countries to combat the pandemic. Speakers at the World Health Organization Africa online press briefing on COVID-19 in Africa agreed that Africa must unite, invest in research and compare notes to defeat the pandemic. Adamson Adeborough has the details.
The virtual meeting is the first in the year 2021 by experts in the health sector to share information about the latest COVID-19 developments in Africa, particularly the new virus variants. They discussed many issues surrounding the pandemic in Africa, which ranges from access to vaccine, the surge in infection, research investment in the health sector, and misconceptions about the vaccine. Matshidiso Moeti, the WHO Regional Director for Africa, says the body is working with partners across the globe to ensure equitable access to the vaccine by African countries.
I think the aim is to minimize, to the extent possible, countries being left behind because, the principle around the COVAX is very much around equity. So I'm not able to tell you which will be the first countries, but the aim is to make sure that we have a kind of equal, to the extent possible, based partly on country readiness, which is why I was emphasizing its importance. So our aim is to make sure that all countries start to receive some of the vaccines that they need at the same time, so that countries are not left behind. And therefore, we emphasize very much the importance of getting on with the preparedness, making sure that countries invest all the effort that's needed for that.
Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, Chikwe Iyekweazu, says 18 different lineages of the virus was detected in Nigeria after months of sequencing samples collected, but none of the variants shows evidence of association with the South Africa or United Kingdom variant.
Our partners at the Africa Center for Excellence for Genomics of Infectious Diseases did a rapid analysis of samples that we had collectively collected here at the center and done genomic sequencing on. ISGID identified 2 SARS-CoV sequences that form an emerging variant called P681H variant in Nigeria that shares one mutation with the UKB1.1.7 lineage. However, this variant does not share any of the 22 other lineage defining mutations of B117. The background to this is that the work done by ISGID and ourselves shows that there are 18 different lineages detected in Nigeria so far since the beginning of the outbreak. And we do not have any evidence to indicate that this P681H variant or any other variant currently circulating in Nigeria is associated with increased transmission.
Francis Kamutapi, a professor in global health infection and immunity in the University of Edinburgh, says Africa only needs to manage the risk as the pandemic will likely stay around for some time.
No, we don't have any idea how long the immunity lasts. However, the aim is to get at least 6 months of protection. And with vaccination, we aim at least for anything between months and years. And this has been the information that has been put out there by the colleagues developing vaccines. A lot of this information will become known in what we call phase 4 clinical trials after the vaccine has been deployed. And that is why it is really important that we continue the surveillance and monitoring of the impact of vaccination.
From the beginning of this outbreak, every country has had to make very hard decisions. And if you're not in that decision-making seat, you probably don't understand how hard this is. Do you stop a child from going to school for 1 year, or do you manage this outbreak and close schools? We cannot afford to close schools, universities, close everywhere, working places, close ports. It's just not possible. We've got to find a way to continue moving forward with certain aspects of daily life in a controlled way, mitigating risks as much as possible.
Experts thereafter advise Africans to ensure non-pharmaceutical safety guidelines, stressing that the vaccine, when available, will not stop the pandemic. Adamson Adeborough, TV360, Lagos.
The president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Sam Ohabunwa, is advising the federal government to consider Nigeria's storage facilities and situation of electricity before procuring COVID-19 vaccines. Ohabunwa says it is safer for the country to buy vaccines that are suitable for its existing storage facilities. Some of the COVID-19 vaccines are said to be tough to store at -70 centigrade in Nigeria, while the pharmacist recommends Oxford, AstraZeneca and Russia's Sputnik vaccines. Ohabunwa says a difficult part of the storage is the ability to manage the logistics, especially to maintain a cold chain. Pfizer or Moderna require below 0 centigrade to store. Moving now to other stories, where the Benue State government has placed a total ban on public gatherings and restricted religious worshippers to 50 at a time. Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, Ungulan Adinge, made this known at the end of the weekly executive meeting in Makurdi. Meanwhile, Plateau State government says it will criminalize people that peddle fake information about the pandemic. The government says it is a crime to deny the existence of the pandemic or spread information intended to confuse people about the virus. Now we have Mike Omotosho, a medical doctor who joins us via Skype from Abuja to shed more light on this. Now, thank you so much for joining us on News Now.
Thank you, Falashade. I'm actually a pharmacist.
All right,
you can call me Dr. Mike
thank you.
Omotosho. It's okay. Yes, thank you.
All right. Thanks for that clarification. Now, what are we missing as Nigerians, and what should we do to keep the rate of infection low?
Well, I often tell people, regardless of the antiviral agents being prescribed, regardless of the expectations for vaccines that we're all waiting for, the most important part really is to ensure that you do two things. Ensure you don't contract the virus, ensure you don't spread the virus, and additionally, increase your personal immunity. If you do these three, then you're sure to actually get away with it. It's near impossible to not interact with people. It's near impossible not to talk to people. But then we already have the 2-meter policy. So if you must talk to people, ensure that you're not just wearing your mask, and if you're too close, ensure that you actually wear the mask itself. There's nothing like, this is my family member, so I know them well enough so they can't have COVID. No, COVID doesn't show on the face. The most dangerous part of COVID is that people can actually be carriers without showing the clinical manifestations, and then they go all around spreading it. Now, the sad part is people expect that it's only when people cough. But as you're talking, as you're singing, there are droplets that are coming out. And if the droplets touch any surface and you touch the surface, and then you now use it to touch your nose, your mouth, or your eyes, then you've infected yourself. That's exactly where the problem is, and that's why it's important to continuously wash our hands with ordinary soap and water. And where soap and water is not available, just use a sanitizer.
All right. Basically, of course, some experts have raised concerns about the storage capacity of the Nigerian government, and some have also advised that we acquire vaccines that we can easily store. Now, as a pharmacist, how do you react to that?
Well, I think I totally agree with the suggestion of Mazi Samuel, the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, that we should be very cautious. It is of paramount significance to know what we're buying, because most of the other ones can actually be stored between +2 to +8. But the Pfizer is -70 to -75. Moderna is -25. Now, there is storage for all of this, but it just becomes, the logistics becomes increasingly more difficult. However, there's a part we're all neglecting. We're hoping to get 62 million doses as a nation. What quantity are we buying as we speak? The nation is actually relying on donations from loans from China, from the Gavi Alliance, from the Bill and Melinda Gates Alliance. When you're actually paying, then you can dictate what you want. But in a situation when we're waiting for freebies, then we've got to prepare in-house. What are the logistic capabilities that we have? Where are the cold chain facilities? Are we training our health personnel to be able to handle all of these vaccinations when it comes on? What gold standards are available for vaccinations elsewhere? Luckily, this time around, we're not even the guinea pigs. We see what's happening in America. We see what's happening in Europe. So let's use them as guinea pigs. What can we copy and adapt from their own process to our own local environment here to make better? Yes, we should be cognizant when we're buying, but in a situation when we're getting donations, then we've got to look inwards and decide what we need to do. I know, for instance, I'm in cold chain logistics, for instance, we're already preparing to expand our logistics capacity, and I expect the private sector to begin to do that. Enough of waiting for governments. Let's begin to look inwards amongst ourselves and say, what can we truly do?
Well, certainly we hope the federal government takes this advice. But thank you very much, Michael Omotosho, for coming on the news. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Falashade. Thank you.
And now we move on to other stories where the reactions continue to trail the government's position on prosecuting anyone who denies the reality of COVID-19 pandemic, as many says it is an illegal and dictatorial step by the state government. A legal practitioner, Adamson Adeborough, joins us via Skype from Abuja to speak on this. Thank you very much for joining us on News Now.
Thank you.
Now, it's obvious that many Nigerians still feel the COVID-19 pandemic is a hoax, and they're trying to convince them seems difficult. Now, do you think it is legal to criminalize information disputing the reality of COVID-19?
In the first place, we all need to know that COVID-19 is real. The evidence is everywhere, both internationally, nationally, and locally. A lot of people have died of COVID-19. A lot of people are sick of COVID-19. Some are still in isolation center. Yes, some have recovered. But that does not take it from out of the realm of reality of COVID-19. So I would not expect anyone to say COVID-19 is a hoax. Otherwise, you are jeopardizing your own life. Now, let's come back home and regard the issue of criminalizing not wearing of face mask. As of today, it is not a crime not to wear face mask because there is no law that has stated expressly that the wearing or not wearing of face mask is a criminal. Now, the law has been set some time ago. As far back as 1961, in the case of our president, that you cannot punish a man for a law or for a crime that is not specified by any law. So to that extent, you cannot hold anybody criminally liable for an offense that is not listed in any of our laws. However, if you intend or any government intends to criminalize the non-wearing of face mask in public places, but they have to take steps to enact laws to that effect. Now, if legislature is taking a step to criminalize the non-wearing of face masks in the public places. They have to take the business step by submitting a bill to the House of Assembly of the State. For as long as that has not been done, then it is not within the realm of juvenile.
Thank you very much for that detailed analysis. But definitely, just as you've said, we have freedom of expression and the government needs to make laws if they want to implement this. But thank you very much for coming on News Now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And that was the legal practitioner Adamson Adeborough talking to us on the criminalization of speeches that COVID-19 is a hoax. We'll move on now to other stories. Following agitations for the country's next president to come from the southeast zone, they have been calls by leaders of the zone to political parties to zone their presidential ticket to the southeast. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, reacting to this, said the issue of ticket zoning is discussion within the All Progressives Congress, APC, which did not concern the PDP.
That the People's Democratic Party will not be dragged into the crisis of APC. You must agree with me that the APC is in crisis because they have lied to Nigerians. They have failed to honor every form of agreements and promises that they made to Nigerians. On account of these failures, members of the party are now afraid that the agreement that they had in 2015 or 2014 may not manifest. And as such, they have started conversations, contestations, disagreements, infightings within their party. It does not translate to the People's Democratic Party. And the People's Democratic Party does not take instructions from the All Progressives Congress. So allow the APC to continue their infightings.
National Publicity Secretary of the party, Kola Ologbodinyo, while speaking to TV360, said the PDP has its own arrangements and structure of operation and will not be drawn into issues affecting another party.
It's also imperative for you to understand that the People's Democratic Party is a structured political party. We have various organs in our party. We have ways and patterns of approaching issues. Experience count on the side of the People's Democratic Party. This is not the first time that we are choosing a presidential candidate. At the nick of time, the various organs of our party will sit and agree on which path will produce the presidential candidate. And I want to leave it at that.
Away from politics and now to security matters, Coordinator Defense Media Operations, Major General John Eneche, is asking Nigerians to give information about anyone stockpiling fertilizers. Eneche, while briefing the media on Thursday, said fertilizers have been identified as potential components for the fabrication of explosives and other chemical weapons owing to its content of ammonium nitrate. NHS says this negative use of fertilizers constitutes a major worry to the Nigerian military, which necessitates a call to Nigerians to give vital information on anyone seen buying bags of fertilizers. NHS says the Nigerian troops across various theaters in the country are making appreciable impact, but attributes the current security challenges to the activities of unrelenting economic saboteurs.
While on routine patrol around Effiat waterways, intercepted and arrested a large wooden boat laden with 1,184 of 25 kilogram bags of fertilizer, suspected to be smuggled in from Republic of Cameroon, with 2 suspects accompanying the items. Suspects and items are currently in custody and will soon be handed over to the appropriate prosecuting authority. We are appealing to the general public to provide information on any area that they see even one bag, 50 kilogram of fertilizer, because that can do a lot of damage. And it will have to be investigated to be sure that these people or this particular person is using it for farming or agricultural purposes. Not one day that any of our informants there has been attacked. So we want to assure or reassure the general public that the status quo will continue to be maintained. We will never give out anybody's name or identity or location, that this was how we got the information.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, new COVID-19 variants found in Kenya.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
And let's take a recap of some of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari is asking Nigerians, especially the elite, to be fair in the criticism of his administration by looking at the situation of the country before the assumption of the current government. And we also told you that stakeholders in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic are calling for support of African countries to combat the pandemic. Speaking at the World Health Organization online press briefing on COVID-19 in Africa, agree that Africa must unite, invest in research and compare notes to defeat the pandemic. In case you missed any of our news bulletins, for more updates, log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. Now to COVID-19 stories, where preliminary research by the state-linked Kenya Medical Research Institute revealed that the variant had been detected in the southeast of the country following a study done between June and October. The institute says more research needs to be done to assess the impact of the variant. Although scientists have said it is perfectly normal for viruses to mutate, Kenya so far recorded nearly 100,000 cases of COVID-19 and more than 1,700 deaths. Well, up next is business stories and stock market review. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Let's now join Jerusha Amarego to bring us up to speed on the latest in business and stock market.
Thank you, Shade. A recent report by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that Nigeria's total debt as at the third quarter of 2020 stood at 32.22 trillion. According to Nigerian domestic and foreign debt reports recently released by the NBS, this development means that Nigeria's total public debt stock as of September 2020 increased by over 6 trillion naira in just 1 year. The NBS in its report further explained that disaggregation of Nigeria's foreign debt showed that $16.74 billion of debt was multilateral and $502.38 million was bilateral, another $3.26 billion bilateral, while $11.17 billion was commercial, which are Eurobonds and diaspora bonds. We'll take a pause here and return with stock market review. Stay with us. Positive sentiments persisted on the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Thursday as it showed the all-share index extend gains at 1.54% to close at 40.963 basis points. Market capitalization also increased by 21 trillion naira. Now, this is impacted by some of our gainers today, where we see Seplat Nigeria gain its own cut of a very high 47 compared 49, 540%, 540 naira. Dangote Cement also, we also see MTN Nigeria and Adova in its own gains. Now, our top losers for today, we see Nimeth, we also see Guinness, we also see NACO and Jay's Bank losers for today. In the market summary, we see that 809 million worth 8 billion naira exchange hands in 6,706 deals. Looking at our market, our global market today, we can see they're all on greens. At FTSE gained a 0.37% gain, Dow Jones also a 0.35% gain, and Nikkei a 0.85% gain. And that's all we have on stock market review. It's back to you, Folashade, for the rest of the news.
And thank you very much, Jerusha Amarego, for bringing us up to speed on the latest in business and the stock market. Move on now to the foreign scene, where vote counting is underway in some polling stations in Uganda's capital, Kampala, after a tense presidential election. The poll pits longtime President Yoweri Museveni against 10 challengers, including frontrunner Bobby Wine, a pop star turned opposition leader. An increased presence of security force members were seen before polls closed, while lorries carrying soldiers drove through the city, with police and local defense units equally on patrol. The run-up to Thursday's vote was plagued by worst political violence in years, with more than 50 people killed by security forces amid crackdowns on opposition rallies. Well, up next is entertainment reports.
The conversation around depression has picked up on social media again, and indigenous rapper Lil Cash had words to share with people going through the mental health disorder. The rapper, in a post shared on his official Twitter page, encouraged those fighting the disorder to open up to people around them. Lil Cash went on to note that activities such as meditation, healthy eating, exercising, sleeping, and prayer can go a long way in helping them feel better, after disclosing that he had also battled depression. Former Big Brother Naija housemate Cindy Okafor has survived a ghastly car accident soon after sharing lovely photos to mark her 25th birthday on Wednesday. The reality TV star posted on Instagram a video from the scene of a car accident which she survived. In the caption that accompanied her post, Sydney stated that a new age would not be the end of her. The reality star noted that there was no major injury, however, she sustained a few bruises. She assured everyone that she is fine and safe, including those that were with her in the car when the accident occurred. American rapper Wyclef Jean has revealed that he is Nigerian at heart and he wants Nigerian pop star Shantizo to help him find his roots in Nigeria. In a post shared on social media, the rapper revealed his love for Nigeria as he shared a video of Shantizo. He explained that his soul tells him to look out for Shantizo, who he believes can lead him to his motherland. He captioned the video as, "You know my DNA traces back to Nigeria, and my soul tells me to find this kid. Can you help me track him down?" On the other hand, it would not be a bad idea to see Shantizo return to the music scene. And that's all we have for you on the entertainment segment of News Now.
Anyway, from entertainment and to sports, clubs in the Nigerian National League are unsure if the 2020-2021 season will start at the weekend as early directed by the Nigeria Football Federation. The NFF had, after its Congress in Abeokuta, approved that the new NNL season starts on Saturday, 16th of January 2021, while the Nigerian Nationwide League 1 was approved to start February 10, 2021. But the NNL clubs said the draws for the new season would only be made on Friday, January 15, 2021, making it impossible for the league to commence the next day. The NNL clubs noted that the league may not start the weekend because draws will only be made on Friday, and there's usually a 2-week interval after the draws before the league starts. And that's it on our package. Thank you for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde.